How would you like to learn how to make a super easy, beginner-friendly baby headband that can be worn more than 200 different ways, and it could be made really quickly and easily? You want to learn how? Stick around and I'll show you. Hi there, I'm Rhonda. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to show you how to make these super easy, super fun, super cute little girl baby headbands. So I'm going to show you what you'll need, and then we'll quickly get started, and hopefully you'll have a headband very soon. And you can make them in so many different colors, and they're super quick to make. So this is what you will need. You will need at least 2 colors of worsted weight yarn. I'm using acrylic. You could use cotton. Whatever you decide to use is fine. But for this project, we're going to use a worsted weight, and what I have in my stash is acrylic. Now, because it's a small item, you could definitely look at your yarn and find scrap yarn and choose a couple of colors that you really like together for a little girl. And you really don't need a lot, which is what makes it really nice. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to make the main part of my headband, and you can see I'm using my scraps in this beautiful light purple color. And then I have 2 accent colors for the flowers. I think that looks really pretty together. The other things you'll need a hairband, and you can choose whatever color you want. It's not really important. It's nice to match and coordinate your colors, but again, it's at the back of the head, so it's not a major part of what you're going to see. You'll also need a button. If you don't have a button, you can sew the flower onto the headband, but it won't be removable. And I'm going to show you to do 2 different layers of flowers. So if you'd like to choose just one layer, you can do just one layer. It's really up to you, but I've chose this pretty yellow button. You are going to need a tape measure. I'm going to tell you the measurements of the typical baby's head. If you have access to the baby, then of course you can measure and check the child's crown, the size of the crown, the measurement around the head, and go from there. But I'll give you the basic measurements. I'll show you a chart on the screen, and then you can decide based on the age of the child you're making it for how long you want to make the headband. You will also need 2 hooks if you're going to make the 2 different flowers. You will need an H or a 5 hook. You will also need a G or a 4mm hook. So I've got 2 hooks. You will also need a darning needle to weave in your ends. You will need a pair of scissors to cut your yarn when you're done. And anything else? I think that's it. Now, I may add a few of these flowers just because I think they're really, really pretty and they go with the colors. So I might sew a few of those on. Again, that's just a little detail that you might want to consider, but it's not necessary. You can make it unique to yourself and use whatever crafty little things you've got in your collection, or just make it yarn, and that's perfectly fine too. So let's get started, and we'll have this done really quick. So we'll get to it now. Okay, so to start, you're going to take your 5mm hook or your H hook, your main color, which is going to be the color of your band, and you're going to need your hairband. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a slip knot and put that on your hook. Then you're going to take your band, put your hook through the band, and then yarn over like so, and bring your yarn through that loop. Now you're going to chain 2. What we are going to do, now that you've fastened on, we're going to do 4 double crochets, and that chain 2 counts as the first one. So you're going to do 3 more double crochets, and that tail end, you can fasten it within those stitches if you like. I'm going to do that. So to do your double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the band, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And basically right now we're just fastening our yarn to the end of this band and this hairband, and then we're going to start crocheting the headband. So we have 2 double crochets, yarn over, insert your hook into that hairband, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and one more time, yarn over, insert your hook into that hairband, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And so now you can see we have the start of our headband. We're going to chain up 2 and turn our work. Okay, whatever loose end you have, don't worry about it. We're going to weave that in at the end. Now, what I'm going to do is 4 double crochets in the back loop only from this point forward. That will give you your nice definition that you see here. You get your ridges, and you might be able to see it a little bit better with this yarn. So depending on the yarn you use, you'll see the definition a little bit differently. Okay, so to get the back loop only, you're going to look at your V's here. You'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you're going to do, this chain 2 will count as your first stitch. You're going to yarn over and insert your hook into the second stitch and do a double crochet. And you have 2 more stitches left, yarn over, double crochet in the back loop only of the next one. Notice where I put my hook into that V. So I'm not taking both strands like you typically would. I'm bringing the hook down into the center of the V and only picking up one strand. So yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So here you have it, the next row for your headband. Chain 2 and turn your work. Let's do that another time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and do that 2 more times for 4 stitches. So it's really simple. When I said it's fast, I meant it's fast. It's only 4 stitches per row because it's for a baby and their heads are little. So you don't want big heavy bands, and that's what it's going to look like. Now let's talk about the sizing. For a newborn baby, you're looking at a 12-inch headband circumference. Anywhere from newborn to 3 months is 12 inches around. And remember, with the hairband, you're going to have give. So it's going to grow. So take the age of the baby now, and you know that that baby is going to be able to wear the headband for some time. So newborn, and I'll put up a chart for you to see. Okay, so taking a look at it, newborn to 3 months is 12 inches around. 3 to 6 months is 13 inches around, 6 to 12 months is 14 inches around, and so on and so forth. And that's where you will need your tape measure to measure how many rows you're going to do, but it works up so fast. So again, at the end of every row, chain 2, yarn over, and this one counts as a stitch, and you just do 3 more. And you can already start to see that definition with the back loop only. And just continue until you've got the size you need. Make sure you use your tape measure. Make sure you know what size you want. So depending on the age of the baby, if you don't have the measurements, remember it's expandable. So whatever size you make it, don't worry if it's too small. It's just if it's too big, then the baby, of course, will have to grow into it because otherwise it's going to slide on the baby's head, slide over her eyes, and we wouldn't want that. So better to veer on the side of a little bit smaller if you're not sure, but go with those sizes that I gave you as a guide and keep going. Very simple until you reach the size you want, and we'll meet at the end. I'll show you how to attach and then how to proceed from there. Okay, I did a total of 21 rows, and what I forgot to mention is you have to include the hairband in that measurement that you want, because of course that's going to add some length to it. If it's a little large, that's okay. If you want it a little bit smaller, then you can always adjust by taking out a row. I'm just about at 12 here, including the band, so I will be newborn size once I attach it. Now we're going to join it to the other side of the hairband, and we don't want to create a seam, so we have to do something a little bit tricky to join to the other side. What you need to do is pull up the loop just a little bit and release your hook. Now you're going to turn your work around, fold it up, and bring it together like so. Now what you're going to do is reach your hook inside the hairband, put your hook through your loop, and pull to tighten the loop, and bring your hook through that loop. Okay, so we're going to have to do a bit of alternate stitching here, and we're not going to do double crochet. We're going to do slip stitching at the back and the front of the hairband, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So now we've got the working yarn on the back of the hairband. We're going to put our hook through the loop and up over the hairband and reach that yarn and pull through and do a slip stitch. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to insert our hook into the next stitch, but instead of going over, we're going to go through the loop, wrap the yarn around our hook, pull up a loop, and pull through to do that slip stitch like so. Okay, now we have our yarn on the other side of the loop. We're going to insert our hook into the stitch and go over and above, reach that yarn, pull up a loop, and pull through another slip stitch. And one more, go inside your final stitch, reach through now, pull up a loop, pull through, and do a slip stitch. And finally, you're going to grab your yarn over, and pull through your loop, pull it tight. And I want you to notice how that looks. It looks messy right now, but you pull your stitches together, and look at that. It looks the same on both sides. It's a little bit different on the inside, but you don't see that side. So now you can just pull through one more time just to fasten off. Okay, and now you're going to take your scissors and cut your end. Like so. Pull it through nice and tight. And there you have your headband attached on both sides. And you can go ahead and weave in those loose ends so you're ready to do the next part. So to weave in your loose ends, you want to put your yarn into the eye of your needle and wiggle it through. And then you can put that through the stitches right on the hairband, like so, for the first one. You don't want to pull too hard. And then go through again, like so, and do that 3 times. And then you can cut the loose end. And I've got my cat doing a song and a dance for you again. Okay, now let's do the other end. So make everything nice and neat before you continue, so you don't have to look at all those loose ends and have them get in the way. And again, I like to put the needle through those stitches on the loop, like so. Pull the end through, back once more, and pull the end through. And then whatever you do to secure, as long as you go in a couple of different directions to lock everything into place, then it should be perfectly fine. Nothing's gonna wiggle out. So I probably did mine an extra time. And you could just play with it a little bit to make everything look even, but this really isn't critical because this is in the back. Now we still have to attach here as well, which I'm going to show you next. So I'm just going to snip that end. Okay, so now that you've got both ends attached, you want to pinch your hairband closed with some yarn just to keep it neater. So it looks like this. It looks much nicer than having it open. So the way you do that, first make a slip knot. Put your hook through. You're using, again, the same 5mm hook. And it's a little bit awkward at first, so just bear with it and you'll do it. You pinch that together, like so. And then take your hook, put it through the bottom, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And do that about 6 times in total until you have a little center piece of yarn that keeps it looking nice and neat. So again, put your hook underneath your hairband, yarn over, pull it through. You've got 2 loops on your hook. And you want to keep it to the top so everything's in the same place. Yarn over and pull through. And again, put your hook underneath, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops. Remember, bring it to the top, yarn over, pull through, and it's looking nice and neat. Let's do it one more time. Put your hook underneath, yarn over, pull through, bring it to the top, yarn over, pull through. And there you go. And now you just yarn over and pull through, pull it up, and now you can fasten off, cut your end, You don't need a long piece. Pull it through, and look how nice and neat that looks. You just have a few stitches at the top, which is fine. It looks cute. And now you can take your ends and put them through. So we're going to hide them. And I'm just going to weave mine through these stitches a little bit, like that, just to hide it. And maybe put it through these stitches, like that. Just doing it a couple of different ways so that it locks it into place. It's not really critical that you do it any certain specific way, just enough to tighten it all up. And if you do it 3 or 4 times, you're good to go. And there's going to be 2 ends that you have to do. I'm ready to cut that end. And then I'm going to do 1 more end. And just make sure that that yarn is in the center so it's equal on both sides. Let's cut that off. Now I just had a thought. This is just plain, but I have this little flower and I really could sew that on at the back, which would be really cute. So there's different things you could do. You may have a bead or a little embellishment of some sort. So actually I think I'm going to do that. I didn't do that on my other ones, but I think that looks really cute. So anyways, you've got your headband and you can see this one stretches nicely. And now it's time to put the button on. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, if you have a button and you're lucky enough that that button can fit a darning needle through and yarn, great. The button I chose is not like that. It's got a very small hole inside. I don't know if you can see it. It's really tiny. I'm going to have to use a regular needle and regular thread. And then I could put the button on. And I'm going to put the button on one side. I'm not going to put it in the center where the band is because of course I want the flower on the side. Okay, so I've got my needle threaded, and before I sew my button on, I wanted to show you how I like to do things to make it easier on myself. You can choose to do it this way if you like, or if you have your own way of doing it, that's fine too. But I like to fasten my button to the thread first. So what I do is I take my thread, put it through the button, and then I just tie it in a knot so I don't have to worry about losing that button off the end. It just fastens it and makes it easier. And then I can do it another time just to make sure it's tight. And remember, with babies, you don't want to leave them unattended with buttons, and you also want to make sure that they're not loose. So when you sew them on, make sure they're really tight. And so now I'm ready to take the button and sew it on. So I will meet you back when that's done. Okay, so you should have your button sewn on now. And like I mentioned before, I decided I'm going to put the little pink rose on the back, and I really like the way that looks. I thought about putting some on the headband, but along the edges of the headband, and I thought that I'll wait until I see the flower. I think that'll be enough. I think that just the one rose I'll be happy with, but as I go along, I'll get an idea of what I prefer, but I'm happy with the way it is now. What I've decided for the headband, I'm going to make a large pink flower and a small purple flower for the center, and that way with the yellow button and the pink and the purple, I have all 3 colors at the front. So I found the pink yarn to be a little bit finer. I think it might be a 3. So I'm going to double up this yarn and I'm going to use my 5 hook for the large flower. So first I'm going to chain up 8. Make a slip knot first. I would rather have more chains than not enough because you want it to fit around your button. If it's too tight, you can't loosen it, but if it's too loose, you can always tighten it by weaving in and out around the circle and pulling it to make it a little bit tighter. So let's chain 8, and then if your hole is too large, I will show you how to close it up. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now you're going to insert your hook into the first chain. And make a slip stitch to join to create your circle. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'll just move this out of the way. Okay, and now you're going to do a treble crochet by wrapping around your hook twice. Insert your hook into the center of the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should have 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that chain 4 did count as a treble crochet. So now you have 2. You're going to do another one. So yarn over twice, insert your hook into the center of your circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now you have 3 trebles. You do another one, yarn over twice, insert your hook into your circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now you have 4 trebles on your circle right now. You're going to chain another 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you're going to slip stitch inside your circle. Like that. And what you want to do as you go through your creating your petals for your flower, you're going to push them over to make room for the other ones. So now you've just created your first petal. Now you're going to chain up 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And wrap your yarn around your hook twice. So yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you're going to do that 2 more times. That's 1. And 2. So you've got 4 more trebles for your new petal. And you're going to chain up 4 once more. And then, whoops, sorry about these balls, they're bouncing around. I had to ball them up because they were in a bit of a mess. Okay, and now you're going to insert your hook into the middle of the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the first loop for another slip stitch into the circle. Okay, and now you've got 2 petals made. Again, scooch them on over and chain up another 4 for your third petal. Okay, yarn over twice, insert your hook into the center of the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So you've got your 2 trebles, make 2 more trebles. There's 1. These little balls remind me of my cat just getting in the way. Okay, so you got 4 trebles. As you're creating your third petal, chain up 4, 2, 3, 4, and slip stitch into the center of your circle again to complete your third petal. Okay, so do the same thing 2 more times to make your 4th and your 5th petal. Okay, so we're at the last petal right now. Get these little tail ends out of the way. And now you're going to, instead of going inside the circle, you'll see a little space here just to lock it into place. Put your hook into that little space. See that? Right there. And you'll slip stitch right there in that space. And then you can fasten off. So just pull up some slack and then take your scissors, cut your yarn. Of course, you only have 1 strand. I've got the 2. And what I like to do is take that little bit of a tail and just tie it at the back. And then I can deal with my loose ends and weave them all in. But I like to do that just to secure everything. You don't have to, that's just my preference. Okay, and then you take your darning needle. These balls of yarn were a nuisance, weren't they? Okay, so I'm going to take my darning needle, and if your end is really short, because I don't know about you, but I tend to feed my ends through as I'm crocheting. What I do is I feed the needle through the stitches first, and then I take the yarn and feed it through the eye of the needle. And that way I don't have to worry about short ends. And even if I pull it through once, it's okay. It should stay because it's going through a lot of tight stitches. As you can see, I'm struggling to even pull it through. Okay, and then you can just cut those ends off really close and take the final ends. And this is where if your circle's a little bit large, so you can take it and see how it fits on your button. And mine fits perfectly, so I don't have to tighten at all. So I'm just going to feed those ends through without tightening, and I'm really careful not to tighten because of course I don't want it to be too tight and difficult to put on the button. So that's the larger flower. And now I'm going to make a smaller purple flower. And I'm going to put this hook aside and take my 4 And I'm also going to chain up 8. So I'm making my slip knot, pull it, and chain up 8 for your small flower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, just like with the last flower, we're going to join it with a slip stitch in the first chain. And there's your buttonhole right there. Okay, so instead of chaining up 4, because we're making a smaller flower, we're going to chain up 3. And then instead of doing a treble crochet, we're just going to do a double. So yarn over, insert your hook into the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So you can see we're going to make smaller petals. And again, same number as last time. So we're going to do another 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. Let's bring that over a little bit. And then chain up 3. So exactly the same as you did last time, except it's chain 3 instead of chain 4 and double crochet instead of treble crochet. So you still have a chain 3 stitches and another chain to make up the 5 doubles for the flower. So right now we're going to slip stitch into the circle, and we've got our first petal. Push it on over, and again chain 3 and yarn over once, make your double crochet once, twice, and 3 times. Chain up 3 and slip stitch into the center of your circle for your second petal. Okay, so you're doing exactly the same thing as the last flower. We're going to make 5 petals in total. So do your 5 petals and I'll meet you at the end. And at the end, remember to lock your last petal into place. Just find a little space in your chain. And join with a slip stitch right there. And then you can fasten off your flower. And just arrange your petals in a way that looks nice to you. Bring that yarn to the back, and then we can weave. And I don't have my tail right close to my other one, so I'm just going to weave it through a little bit and tie it when I get there. So I'll show you what I mean. Move that away. So I'm going to weave it through, and again we want to see how that fits on the button before I decide whether I'm going to have to tighten or not. And again, mine fits nicely. If yours doesn't, hopefully it's not too tight, but you can always tighten it if it's too loose. And I think I still need to arrange my petals. But remember, this is a smaller one, so it's going to look a little bit different. And we'll see how that looks when we put them together. Okay, so I'm tying it up another way. And I'm keeping my yarn through the needle because I'm going to weave in that end. Just put it through a few times. And after weaving through a few times, cut that in. And now I have my large flower and my small flower, put them on top of each other, and look how pretty that looks. And then I can put them on top of my button, like so. Arrange the petals so they're sitting on top of one another and centered on the button. And if you find it slides around too much, of course, you can always go back and tighten your end, even if you have to get a new strand of yarn. If you've fastened off already, that's okay. Look how pretty that looks. And there you have it. There's your headband. And I'm just going to show you what I've done. I've actually made a stack of flowers, large and small, and I'll just show you. You can do that too. You can take those 3 yarns and decide what you want to do, even if you use a small and a large of the same color. I'm going to show you how pretty that looks. This one's a little bit tight, but it still fits. So even if you layer your flowers, so pretty. There's so many different possibilities. That you can try when you make different flowers. You can even layer them 3 times to make something that really pops. It's just a matter of arranging it. And I'm not working really hard at it, but you can see how that looks. So I can use 2 colors, 1 color. And the other thing that I did, which is fun, is I made flowers with multiple colors. So here I've got yellow and pink, and I really love that combination. And then I could take a small yellow, I could take a small purple, and just have fun with it. And if you're giving it as a gift and you want to make several different flowers to change it up, what a neat idea that is, I think. And if there's other flowers that you like to make that have a hole in the middle, by all means, you can do that as well. I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. There really are endless possibilities when you make a lot of different flowers. Every one of them looks so different and yet so pretty. I really like that. And you could even take a larger hook and make a flower that's really large with all 3 colors. So there you have it. I'm going to do my final flower. Let's see what I'm going to do. I am going to do, because I love this one so much, I will do that. I will do another yellow, and I will do a pink. And I know I don't have any purple, but I just like this combination. Look Look how pretty that is. I love that. There you go. So have fun with it. Enjoy it. I hope you like this tutorial. If you do, please like, subscribe, and share so I can keep coming back and bringing you more content that you like. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely try to offer you content that you request. So there you go. Have a great day. This was fun. I really enjoyed showing you how to do this. I hope you like it. I hope you have a lot of fun with it and do so many combinations. Enjoy and have a great day. Bye for now.